Hi guys, welcome to another video. Been a bit busy, as you can see. I thought I'd show you before I finish doing this. I'm using some wet and dry. It's 2000 grit, but it's red, and it's a very similar red to the arches, look. Let me just show you that before I start doing them all. All I've done is I've made sure one fits, and I just keep cutting squares this size and pushing them up and in. And yeah, so what I'll do, just draw around it on the next piece, so that's ready to cut out. It took a bit of time getting the first one right, but they all seem to be about the same. So I guess that's another advantage of having almost a, it's not a kit, but it's, you know, kit built almost with accuracy. So I haven't tried this one in yet, but it kind of fits. I'll have to do some jiggery pokery. It's easy with two hands. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish these arches and then I'll show you what I've done. But the one I've just put in there, can you see it sits on a nice little lip, and the lip over there. I will be gluing these in, but I wanted to show you what is going on here, because I was going to print them and then I just started mecking around, and the colour there is hardly different at all, to be honest. And by the time it's I might paint it black inside. I probably won't actually. I'll probably just lay, so what's going to come up next, you see, I've got to get all this ready, basically like that, and I'll do these ones as well. You can see I've just snapped some of the arches I had, and that's okay, because the arch is obviously bigger on the other side, but because I'm doing it with paper, I can make this side the same as that, and then the other side will just be like bigger, so it'll basically just fill the gap, and you're not going to see this bit, because what I'm going to do is do all this, and then when I got to that point all the way across here, and also I'll be cutting at a kind of like an angle like this, so that this shelf can slot into the other shelf. It's all a bit sort of like rush, but just thought I'd have a go at trying to get this thing progressed, and it's coming along nicely. So I shall finish doing the arches. Like I say, on the curve it's nothing special. The arches are the same as these ones. I've just literally snapped them, so that's the gap difference there. But you're never going to see that side, so I'm okay with that. So yeah, I'll finish this off and we'll come back in a minute, and hopefully we'll be at sort of like that point with all of that and that as well, and then we can go on to the next bit and I'll show you what we'll do there. I said we'd be back when I finished, but I thought I'd show you this just before we finish. So this bit of paper is the original arch template, and that is literally then transposed to this, which is my finishing material. Just how it happens, it's wet and dry. But what I'm going to do now is start doing the corners, and I'm going to do it with paper because I don't want to waste the wet and dry. And I know the front edge is going to be the same as the original length, so well, let's keep this bottom piece the same. I'm just going to draw a line at the back there so we know where to sort of stop. And I'm just going to guess that I'll add another about 5 or 6 mil up there somewhere. That's probably too much, but this is all I'm doing, so I'm just going to join them lines up. Ish. I haven't got a ruler. I would advise you have one. But if it doesn't fit, I'll just keep trimming it to fit. because I think all these arches are going to be slightly different, the curved ones. So there's not a lot of difference here, where it goes now like this, or shall we say it goes like that, and it doing that at the back, like I say, is just to account for a larger circumference of arch. So I'll cut this out and we'll see if it fits. Now you could use brick paper instead of what I'm doing here, but I was actually quite impressed with how the wet and dry matches the colour of my brick, or my red oxide paint on my brick. And I'm going to call that good. And you can see ever so slightly that's lifting away from here. That's not the end of the world because I'm going to glue them all in. I just don't want them mega loose. So that is in. So now I can transpose that paper to wet and dry, and we'll have a nice fitting arch. And fingers crossed, guys, this will go in. Lovely. Okay, well, she's prepped. I've just got to glue these arches in now, and then on the end it's left a bit ski with. Basically the next bit that goes on, but I've got to have all this dry, is going to be sort of like chamfered, sort of slot into the next piece of the bridge that's on the other shelf. So it's a bit of guesswork at the minute. Okay, so I've glued them. They are still drying, as you'll see. Down here it's still wet. It's turning out pretty good. So just got to make sure glue doesn't come through underneath. Okay guys, well I've stuck the cardboard down. It's one sheet at the moment, and what I'll do is I'll put it'll either be 2 or 3 sheets on. The reason being is one sheet isn't long enough, plus it's too thin really for all the other stuff that's going to go on it. So I've got bits and bobs just holding it down for the time being. I'll let that dry. I'll take it off tomorrow and we'll see what we got. Okay, so it's the next day. It's dried, and the card, it's kind of waving all the way along, which is not what I was expecting actually, to be honest with you. You win some, you lose some. Anywho, what I've got to do is trim the back off, so I'm going to do that now. I won't show you that. All I'm going to do is run a knife down the back of it using the back of the Viaduct. I've got to just clean up this front face a bit here, and then I'll stick something else on, but I'm not sure what it's going to be just yet. But it definitely needs to be thicker than that. But it's all pretty damn sturdy. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, which is lovely. Just have another look under here, look. Oh. So yeah, I shall crack on, see what we get. It's actually just dawned on me, because I've just rough cutted the back of here. It's not going to have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be pretty at all. But I'll sand this actually on the back edge, just so I've got a nice straighter edge. The front there is pretty good. Again, it'll be neatened up when I put the other bits on. The thing I've just thought of though is I've got plasticard sheet. Plasticard. Yeah, I've got sheets of this somewhere. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go this way though. That's way better. Because that ticks a lot more boxes for me, because I can glue to it better and stuff like that. So I'll stop jabbering on, I'll find out the plastic, and I'll neaten up this, and then I'll start putting plastic sheets on. What I'm probably going to do though is literally just glue them on in solid sheets for the time being, and then what I'll do is when that's dry and it's glued on, is I shall cut it at that point when it's on, so I can score underneath and then just lift it up and it should snap, and then just give it a bit of a quick file, and that should be bang on then. It'll get some nice crisp lines. Oh, let's crack on. What I'm going to do now, you can tell I'm impatient, can't you? I've gone from like, if I had all these bits, I'd have all this thing made in probably a day, easy. We'd get to this point in a day, and you can see why that would be, because I've just literally slapped it together. The finessing will come later. You kind of want your lines to line up, you know, like there's no weird overhangs going on here. The reason I'm not worrying overly too much is, you see how there's a gap there and there's a gap there? Well, this top piece is going to be glued onto here, and this is probably going to be slightly see-through, and you're going to see a bit of green. Now, this will go on like that, although this one's pretty bent, so that can go up there on the corner. I hope none of these, I hope they're not all bent, no. That one actually looks bent too. Oh dear, what have we got here? Now what I did when I made these is I put brick on the inside as well as, see if it'll focus, come on, on the outside, and then on the ends here, these have got little drain holes in the bottom, and there's a drain hole about halfway down as well. So the pillars, basically, I'll show you here, it's probably easier. Well, these are joined together. I've got to file out these bits here. But they'll basically go together on and over that gap. So then I don't necessarily have to run a drain down there, because they didn't have, I don't think they had drain pipes on there. That would have just looked weird. But there will be watermarks coming down, and at that point I can do a bit of green and a bit of this and a bit of that and hide those gaps. Hopefully, theory. Now I won't be able to do that on all of them, but I'll give it a go. So it's going to be a lot of filing now, but I need to make sure that these are going to be flat and able to go against each other. Easy to file, which is nice. And obviously you don't get a lot of time to play around with super glue. Once it's there, it's kind of there. So you can kind of see what I'm doing now. Really, it's just a giant model kit, isn't it? Oh yeah, so I've done these top rails so far. I started curving them around, as you can see. But I can't do that one, because I've got to finish this bit off. So really, I'm just putting the track on just to have a little break. It's very detailed stuff doing this. And you can see some of them aren't perfect, which is fine. And they've just got enough bend in them to actually bend them round, so that's good enough for me. But again, I'll be ballasting all this, so you ain't going to see it. Or the majority of it anyway. I can see, not the end, we are way off that, I think, with all the scenery, but yeah, I'm stoked. Okay guys, what I've done here is I've put the shelf back on the wall. I'll show you the other bit in a minute. It'll make a lot more sense. So what I've got here is the shelf is going to end, okay? We've got the viaduct starts here, there'll be a verge somewhere around there. It'll come along here. And then the viaduct gets a bit weird, but the verge will be here. And then in the background there'll be trees and hills and stuff like that. But that needs sorting out before I continue this end of the viaduct, because this one slides out before this one, basically. So this whole thing has to slide off. Now I need that to not hit anything as it comes off, or work out a good way of doing it. I think it's going to be tricky, to say the least, and it's not ideal. So I will make it removable-ish, and then I've got to do the track. I'll just come to that when I get to that. So anyway, we'll come around. Don't look at all the mess on the shelf. I mean, you can, but like that's not what I'm trying to show here. I'm trying to show how elevated the track is. And now my track is level, okay? There's no inclines. So what I've got, this will be the end of the viaduct, and there's two main lines that will run down here. And then, it's hard to show, but there's a point here, and that'll go off to a siding. And that is at Brackley Station. You just can't see it that well in the photos. But those two main lines will continue to come round, and to a station I've made out of Lego. It's just mocking it up for the time being. And then there's another line here that also goes up and through. So all three of these branch off and just go off into the wilderness. So what they do is they go right about here. There's a bridge. I'll flash up an image now. It makes more sense. Looking this way, I'll flash up an image now. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, hopefully you can visualize the Lego. I've got the two main lines, and then that line there will come on through as well, and then the station comes down here. So hopefully you can kind of get what I'm getting at. This whole lot can move over a little bit, because I think I have to kind of raise an embankment a little bit up here. But I just wanted to show you this bit, because this shelf, I got it wrong in the first video. So this shelf runs all the way down to my lion. And that's 1.9 meters long. So it's nearly 2 meters long. It's quite long. And then this one here is 1 meter 10. I think they're 55 mil thick. I can't remember how deep they are, but the depth I think is in the other video. 235 rings a bell. I'm not sure. You have to look it up. But they're IKEA floating shelves, and they're blimmin' awesome. The only thing is they're hollow, but they've got honeycomb inside them. But this wood I think is thick enough to kind of screw things into just about. So this is where this bit comes in. So I'm going to have to put a plate across that to this, and possibly something in here, like literally an L bracket, that will hold it in the right place. In fact, that L bracket might just about do it, to be honest, because I'm just literally pushing one up and down. Yeah, so that's what we got. I've got another shelf above, so on this piece that runs all the way along. So that helps me put maybe downlighting on the station area, and then over here I can open up a bit more. So that's what we're dealing with. And there's not really, I'm going to be doing other layouts. They will come. And the beauty I like with this, obviously this viaduct is kind of part of this shelf now, because it will flow into the station. That's exactly how I wanted it. Now I don't know how these exhibitions go, but I'm pretty sure I could put this on trestles if I had to. And you know, if they'd let me take up this square footage, I guess. But there's no limit really. You can, I can loop this back round, and it'll go all the way back through the station, the other end. And I think it looked pretty good. What I'm trying to avoid doing this whole thing, now we've got an expansive viaduct on one shelf here. I'm trying to not make it look boring, but at the same time not look too busy. So the viaduct, yes, that's the main thing. So I'm kind of getting the big thing out of the way done. There's another thing I really want to do, and I've done it before, and I've
I've basically done my own car system. So you can have the cars moving around. I did it a long time ago when I was a kid, and I had a real good success with it. Basically, I can't remember who it is, the Magna Rail or something. You can buy it now, and it's on links, and they put magnets in the links, and you put a magnet thing on your car and you drag it around. Well, that's basically what I do, and I'm hoping I can do it on here. The thing is, I'm limited with height here. I can make it very low profile, but so basically, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, all it is basically a cable car system with magnets, and you're just dragging N-gauge cars around, and it looks really effective if you do it right. And actually, my plan, and I would love to have a little car, just a rogue car, one car, just coming down a little country road, going over the bridge. But I'm not sure what he's going to do down here. I want to get this part at least basically done, because as well, I'll show you. Like looking down there, or something like that. I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, even let's go back over here. Like even that view looking down there, it just looks, that view down there, it just looks massive. And to an extent it is. It's, so 1.1 meters and then 2 meters down here to where the camera is. It's massive. But, if you get HST coming around, that's going to look wicked. So, I'll stop blabbing on. And I'm going to have a play with this and just to see what I can do, because whatever I do, I don't think the shelves are great to screw into. So what that then leaves me with is gluing and screwing on, possibly on the back of here, almost 2 plates, and they won't be removable. And then what you do is you screw to those, so that then it is removable, because I need it to be. If I move house, if I go to a show with it, if I want to take this downstairs into the lounge, if I'm allowed, and set it up downstairs, I could put it on trestles, and actually, you could. But this basically modularizes the layouts for me. I don't need them dead deep. There's no point on that, I don't think. If you have something that's out of reach, it's gonna break down, isn't it? Where you can't get to, it'll break. And then I won't stop, will I? The beauty of this as well is I can make a removable panel, click, magnets, whatever, and I can get in here. So if I stick all the track down, normally people like drill holes and wire and all that sort of stuff, even the points, I can get access under here. There's loads of space to get a drill bit in there and drill a hole through for the point and yada yada yada, and do all the wiring after I've actually made it. Anywho, I'm going to leave it there. I'll stop talking nonsense. This gives you an idea of what I'm doing now, and that's what's important, because I was getting a bit fearful, like I'm showing you a viaduct and it just has no concept, but I'm hoping now it kind of does make a bit of sense. With the space I'm limited to, but hopefully this has put everything into perspective. I'm going to call it here actually on the video, and because I've got some thinking to do, I think. I'd love to just run a train over this, see what noise it makes. It might be alright. I don't know, probably not. It's going to be noisy. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned.